I stepped off the Max Light rail train in Beaverton, Oregon. The morning air was damp, but warming. Some low clouds were dispersing as I crossed the parking lot. I followed the familiar path to work, walking the sidewalk through an opening in the hedge, lost in thought about the day ahead. Suddenly, a shrieking form swooped at my head, dive-bombing me like a tiny fighter jet. Startled, I ducked. The feathered assailant circled above, his mad eyes fixed on me. It was a frenzied but bluffing attack, trying to scare me off without contact. "Yes, you're very brave," I said, regaining my composure. "Now go away." But the bird was relentless. He continued his aerial assault. As I hurried out of his territory, he finally relented. He then raced back with angry calls to defend against the next unsuspecting pedestrian. Even after 20 years, this memory still makes me smile. This feisty little bird, known for its striking red shoulder patches, is fiercely territorial in the nesting season. It's not just humans who face its wrath. Even formidable red-tailed hawks are chased out of its domain. In this video, I will describe the red-winged blackbird. I'll answer questions such as, what does a red-winged blackbird look like? Where does it live? What does it sound like? How does it behave? What does it eat? What is its courtship and nesting like? And where can you find one? If you know 20 North American birds, the red-winged blackbird is probably one of them. Do you have any stories about them to share? I'd love to hear them. These medium-sized songbirds are 7 to 9.5 inches long, bill tip to tail tip. They have a wingspan of 12 to 14.5 inches. They are stocky with a short tail. Their bill is conical and sharp-pointed. Males after the second year are glossy black with red shoulders tipped with yellow. Sometimes the black scapular feathers conceal the red and only the yellow border shows. Red-winged blackbirds get new feathers each fall. These fresh feathers show reddish bars on the upper parts. These rusty tips soon wear away, and the males then show their glossy black plumage. Red-winged blackbirds show strong sexual dimorphism. That means there's a big difference between the genders. In this case, males are more colorful and larger than females. The smaller females are heavily streaked above and below with brown and white. The plumage is interspersed with warm rusty brown above. The heavy streaking and cone-shaped bill makes female red-winged blackbirds appear very sparrow-like. Look for the pale eyebrow and pink-orange wash on the face and throat that is different from any sparrow. Immature males are like females, but with a hint of the reddish shoulders. In the United States, there is only one other bird that looks like a male red-winged blackbird. Tricolored blackbirds live primarily in California. They have deeper red shoulders with a bright white lower edge instead of yellow. Females are darker bellied and less rusty, more cold gray than female redwings. They nest in dense colonies, closer together than red-winged blackbirds. Red-winged blackbirds have many unique behaviors. When blackbirds feed, they sometimes stick their closed bill into the ground and then force it open to reach food. This is called gaping. Look at the excellent video about this at All Things Birdie, linked in the card above. Singing males allow close approach. Males sit prominently, spreading their tail and wings to expose the red shoulders. Females are usually more secretive. They perch low and crawl through small branches and reeds. The flight is fairly direct and slow with some undulation. Birds appear short-tailed in flight. Migratory groups of up to several hundred birds can fly in lines or ball-shaped flocks. Flocks are usually disorganized and uncoordinated. Both genders spend much time on the ground. Fall and winter flocks mix with starlings, grackles, and cowbirds. They feed and walk, run, or hop forward in the fields. Rear birds overfly the flock on the ground in a rolling cloud. As I described at the start, males and females vigorously defend the nest and young, hovering, dive-bombing, and calling loudly. Males drive away other males and even drive away females who aren't in immediate breeding condition. When singing, these birds often perch upright with tail down and back hunched. The song of male red-winged blackbirds is a loud musical gurgle, turali, according to Pete Dunn. Western birds have a harsher song, conclary. Charles Townsend in 1920 gave this account of the courtship display of the male. He spreads his tail, slightly opens his wings, puffs out all his feathers, and sings his quanqueree. When he puffs out his body feathers, he especially puffs out, erects, and otherwise displays to their best advantage the gorgeous scarlet epaulets. These patches become actually dazzling in their effect as he slowly flies toward the object of his affections, for these beauty spots are more effective when seen from in front. Both genders give harsh chack calls and piercing whistles. Females chase intruders with a call of up to 6 repeated excited whistles. Red-winged blackbirds are in the family Icteridae, often called icterids. They are only found in the Western Hemisphere. They are also sometimes called troupials, named for being in a group or troop. Icterids include orioles, blackbirds, grackles, cowbirds, and meadowlarks. In the tropics, there are also birds called troupials, oropendolas, and caciques. These various icterids can look similar to crows, thrushes, tanagers, finches, and buntings. The key is the bill. The bill of icterids is somewhat conical and sharp-pointed. The upper ridge of the bill, the culmen, is elevated toward the base and extends far back to part the feathers of the forehead. The cutting edge of the bill, called the commissure, is somewhat angulated. You can find red-winged blackbirds and other icterids near the end of your most recently published field guides. They are near New World wood warblers, another family of birds that has only 9 primaries. The scientific name of red-winged blackbirds is Agelaius phoeniceus. Agelaius means belonging to a flock, and phoeniceus means a deep red color. They are named for the red lesser and marginal secondary wing coverts. The yellow feathers below these are the median secondary coverts. You may also hear the red shoulder patches called epaulets. Epaulets are ornamental shoulder pieces such as those found on military jackets. Red-winged blackbirds breed across Canada and the United States south to Costa Rica. They winter throughout most of the U.S. except the coldest northern areas. Genders winter and migrate separately. The females and young flock together. Adult males flock in a separate group by themselves. Males arrive on the breeding territory 2 weeks before the females. These are early migrants. Males arrive in territory in the northern United States in February and March. Red-winged blackbirds breed primarily in wetland habitats, especially cattail marshes. They like sloughs with small trees. But they don't stay there all day. In breeding season, they are at the marsh in the early and late parts of the day. During the middle of the day, however, they roam out into open farm country. In winter, flocks gather to eat in grain fields and feedlots. Red-winged blackbirds are widespread and numerous. Some sources say these may be the most populous land bird in North America. The IUCN, however, estimated that there were 210 million adults in 2018. That's a lot of birds, but behind American robins, which they say is the most numerous North American bird. One single winter flock of redwings in Virginia was estimated at 15 million birds. Their population is declining slightly, but is not in any danger. An average lifespan is about 5 years, but individuals have lived up to 14 years. Nestlings and fledglings unable to fly are preyed upon by water snakes, bullfrogs, and snapping turtles. Crows, grackles, and marsh wrens are said to eat or destroy the eggs and young blackbirds. Red-winged blackbirds feed on weed seeds and insects. About 73% of their diet is vegetable. The remainder consists of mayflies, moths, beetles, caterpillars, grubs, grasshoppers, and even snails. Rarely, they also eat blackberries and fruit. They are considered agricultural pests in some areas when flocks are large. They especially damage rice crops in the south and California. They will also eat crops of corn, oats, and wheat. But they destroy insect pests by eating cotton and alfalfa weevils, gypsy moths, and tent caterpillars. At your feeder, red-winged blackbirds favor corn and mixed seeds, such as milo, but they will also eat hulled sunflower seeds and peanut hearts. If you have too many blackbirds at your feeder, you may throw cheaper cracked corn on the ground, away from your other seed feeders. Males often have more than one female mate. One male may defend several nests when an intruder appears. Monogamous pair bonds are more likely if there are fewer birds in the marsh. When birds are numerous, they form loose colonies. Then pair bonds are less rigidly defined. Male red-winged blackbirds stake out breeding territories before any females arrive. They sing from the top of bushes or old cattail stalks. All nesting activity and raising of the young is done by the female, but the male defends the territory. The nest is a loosely woven cup of dried cattail leaves attached to plant stalks. The interior of the cup is lined with fine grass. The nest is placed in cattails, rushes, or trees. The elevation of the nest is from 3 inches to 9 feet above the ground. Eggs are laid March through July. They usually lay 4 eggs that are colored pale blue-green with dark zigzag lines. Females incubate the eggs 11 to 12 days. The chicks are blind and naked when they hatch. The young fledge from the nest at about 10 days of age. Red-winged blackbird females usually lay 2 broods per season. In one study, more than 50% of the eggs in the nest failed to produce fledglings. They are sometimes host to cowbirds, which lay their eggs in the blackbird nest for the foster parents to raise. Red-winged blackbirds are widespread. Wherever there is water and some cattails, you are likely to find them. In fact, spring through summer, they are likely to give themselves away with their loud and memorable song. A ditch, a pond, a slough, or swamp are all places to find red-winged blackbirds in summer. In fall and winter, look for large flocks in farms, cut cornfields, plowed fields, cattle lots, and perhaps landfills, and expect to see them in the parking lot at your neighborhood shopping center. Click on this video to learn surprising sapsucker facts.